So if you look at that whole pelvis, one way of working with this is just like this. Now, pay attention more so to the knees and how the knees are rotating over. So see as I rotate the pelvis, how his knees are also rotating. So that rotation is coming through the hip joint and up through the femur. This is a very nice movement that you, again, if a child has special needs at 3 months, this is really going to start showing up. Even at 3 months old, this is where parents are going to go, oh, my baby panics, my baby can't breathe, all of this. Do you see how well now, we'll look at every body part. Look at how well his chest cavity is twisting in and out, just based off of that pelvic rotation. Okay. Also, what's nice, what he's doing right there, is the head is independent from the pelvis. See how the chest comes back? The head's still in the same position. Or if I had a visual stimuli, I can get him to rotate his vision around, which we did on the last video of rolling the vision and how that works. So also what's happening, if you look at a baby at 3 months old, his feet are still curling in a bit, but they'll go in and out of it. But here, if I just actually took off his socks, boo, boo, was that fun? Was that fun? See how the toes are going in and out of it. Again, they're not contracting. See how I have toes up and toes down. So all of these things, this is all I'm doing. I'm grabbing a kid by the pelvis and see how much of an exam you can do with this child. Now, most people, that's where they go, oh yeah, baby's like rocking. It's not a rock. I'm not sitting there going, yeah, he might like that. But notice my intent is still with that torque, that rotation. So as I take my hand and bring around and bring him around. Now, again, he's so healthy, I'm doing this one-handed. He's just 3 months old. Because if I just did this, it's still a nice movement, but already, this is what I was talking about with the shape of the spine. See how it already changes the mathematic of the rotation of the pelvis just because I've, changed the stimuli in the chest cavity. See, if I held the chest here, see how you're not going to get the same rotation. And this is where I don't like babies, especially there's like a baby beanbag with a 5-point harness to put your babies in. What's your baby going to do with that? It's not only stuck in a beanbag, but it's got a 5-point harness. Again, I understand that if you're going to make dinner, you need to put your baby in a safe environment. But that doesn't mean 2 hours in front of baby Einstein at 3 months of age. This is where a blanket, go back to old-fashioned, economical. But notice too, again, I've said this before, there are a lot of, quote, baby exercises or baby stimuli that believe in first joint compression. This was sort of a discussion I just had. So now again, notice how nicely he's working. Now, if you didn't see that your child was doing this nicely, this is when you come in and you do detailed stuff. I'm lightly with the pelvis, but really my thumb's going into the hip joint. My hand's going across the front part of the femur, but the whole leg is resting in my hand, and I'm doing a very gentle rotation. But see how I can work with the foot coming to the floor in the back, and or possibly bringing the foot to the floor in the front. So it's learning its proportions, it's learning its rotation. I could sit here, and again, diaper factor, I can go into the whole pelvic region and do this really nice little, it kind of looks like a massage, but as you know, I'm pulling down on the pubic bone, and see how I'm moving into the pelvis? I always have that rotation going. Now, if I just did joint compression, what's going on? There's no learning going on here. Yes, you can say, quote, he's bearing weight on the hip, but guess what? If I'm going down here to this, look at how he's bearing weight on his foot and going through the pelvic region. I'll do it on this side just so you can see it. Changing my hands, bringing the foot. Babies are harder to. And see how I'm pulling through the knee and rotating and going into, that's a bearing weight. But I'm learning how to breathe, but to sit there and do this. Now another thing that people believe in, now see, watch him, he's just bringing his feet up. Right, and I can play with that. They grab the feet and do these kind of baby stretches. Ooh, we're crawling. But see, when I hold the feet, look at how limited he is in his upper body. See, now he's trying to roll over, but it's hard. So if I do this, see the difference in him trying to figure out rolling? Because it's locking in the hip joints. But if I do the same thing here, where the feet are free, I'm working on crawling. Lizard moves, look at how much more he can move. Not only that, from here, I can just go like this. And boom, head up. So it's much more working with his gravitational force and his center of balance. And also what's nice too, notice he flipped over. I'm leaving him alone for a second. Get used to breathing in this position. Is the head up? Admire your baby. Do whatever you want to do. See how much, is there a nice arch going on here? Is the head's up? And also look at, with the head being up, look at how nicely he is with the head in relationship to the elbow. You know, babies really tell you a lot of things. Also notice too, right here, which he's doing quite nicely, is see, just naturally, and I'm not using any kind of stimuli, but his eyes can go over the horizon. See how he's just briefly looking up. Now if I took even his sock, see, look, very easily, boom, he goes up. Now to make him stay there for 5 minutes is not going to happen. He's a 3-month-old baby. But the eyes are actually floating in the head, the skull, and that's a really big, versus you'll see kids getting a hyper focus. You know how they just look and they have to almost concentrate on what they're looking at because their system's learning to stabilize. So now as he's stabilizing, look now already he's coming over his knees. So really at this position, if I wanted to, again, just with the pelvis in mind, I can go here and just tuck him. Now his head's going to come down because I'm doing this early. I don't want him to crawl at 3 months. But it's okay if his head comes down. Another thing you can do here, like here he's on his hands. Whee! And back down. Now I'm not looking for him to do a wheelbarrow, but he's just learning how to come over his weight through the elbows. Now go back off and see how he's stabilized. Now he's actually looking for